It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. It's time for my weekend update, May 13th. Ladies and gentlemen, I was pulling some stories off the AP at midnight last night. The internet was kind of hiccupy, and a lot of the headlines got scrambled. Some of the stories got scrambled. I had to do my own thinking and research, put this video together for you today. So some of these stories could be totally erroneous. Some of these stories could be just nutty. But I'm hoping all these stories will make us all think. First story up. Here's the headline I got over the AP. Mega PE roll-up wants to sell stock, but shares were printed on Toshiba with disappearing ink. I'm thinking to myself, somebody printed stock certificates on the Toshiba machine with disappearing ink. The people went to the safety deposit box to get the shares, and there was nothing on the shares. They were blank sheets of paper. They were basically worthless. And I'm thinking, boy, if this ever happened, there has to be some fictitious books out there that people could read. The first book up, Everything You Be Owed, Tomorrow Never Comes. Everything You Be Owed, Tomorrow Never Comes. If you ever get any shares that turn out to be worthless, you probably should read that book. How to Sell Worthless Stock. A lot of times people are in the private equity groups. Private equity, they take all the equity, and that other people with the equity, besides the private equity, they don't have any equity left, so they don't get any money. That's a good book to read if that ever happens to you. The Bell Never Rang. A Wall Street Dream Becomes a Nightmare. A Wall Street Dreams becomes a nightmare. Ladies and gentlemen, we've all had the dream, right? We're going to stand on the podium and ring the bell. I mean, hopefully they're not really talking about that too much in the print channel. I mean, because I don't think any print company's going to go to Wall Street and ring the bell for the first time. I mean, that would be totally crazy to even think about that. Anyway, next headline, 2 sales reps get into bloody fist fight. Ladies and gentlemen, when I saw this headline, I was thinking to myself, wow, this is crazy. And then I found this picture online. I mean, look at this. These people are kicking the crap out of each other. They got blood all over the place. Apparently, one of them works for Pantone, one of them works for Lexmark. They're in the parking lot of a dealership. The dealer currently sells Lexmark. The Pantone rep wants the dealership to get rid of Lexmark and take on Pantone. And they're just beating the crap out of each other to get this done. I thought, this is just nuts. But then I started thinking about this. Chinese Communist Party getting Americans to fight each other. This way, whoever wins, the communists still win. Could this be going on? Could the communists be setting us up with printers to fight each other? I don't know, but folks, there seems to be a lot of scrambling going on with the Pantone people trying to get the dealers to take on the Pantone and get rid of the Lexmark. So this is a disturbing story at best. Dealer can't afford to add minutes on employee cell phones. I think this was the headline that was coming over, but I started thinking to myself, okay, got this big dealer. They can't afford to add the minutes on the cell phones. Why would that be? What could cause them not to be able to add? Why would they run out of minutes on the cell phone? I didn't even know we were buying minutes on cell phones anymore. But then I started thinking, and I've recently seen an executive, let me just show you the picture, an executive that works for Visual Edge. His name is David Ravis. He's the Chief Strategy Officer at Visual Edge. And he's been out there putting a whole lot of videos on the social media, on LinkedIn. And then I guess, what if he was doing this? What if he was telling all the people that work at Visual Edge, I need you to watch this and like it and share it. I'm putting this video out there. I want you to watch it, like it, and share it. And if they're all doing that at the Visual Edge company, then they would be running out of the minutes on the phone. So then I'm thinking that could be tied into that headline. But then I started thinking to myself, what a strategy this is. I mean, he is the Chief Strategy Officer because, throwing videos all over LinkedIn about people throwing balls, well, that could be real distracting from what's really going on over there at Visual Edge. I mean, we know they got the loan and non-accrual, the CCR 5 credit rating from the BDC Credit Reporter. So, throwing a bunch of videos out there that are nonsensical could, be distracting from that real story. There's a lot to that story, I think, folks. Kind of interesting story in its own right. But, then I started thinking about this, I heard a rumor that there's a code named P20. And P20 means we're going to eliminate people at Visual Edge. Austin, if that's true, I'd love to know if that's true. But I'm thinking that I know what the P20 means. Pictures times 20, you're out. Pictures times 20, you're out. You put 20 videos or 20 pictures up, and then you get terminated. Because there was an executive just at the end of last year that was kind of doing the same thing, putting a lot of videos and pictures out there on social media, and then all of a sudden he's not there anymore. So I'm thinking maybe that's what the P20 stands for. I don't know, there's a lot in that story, to say the least. Fridays with Frank episode is so long it ends on Saturday morning. We all know Fridays with Frank. Ladies and gentlemen, there's Frank Canada right there. Well, there's a rumor out there that Sharp had a birthday party for Frank at the analyst breakout session at the Sharp meeting. And they brought Frank over, and he cut down this curtain, and behind the curtain was this big giant production machine. And the rumor is that Sharp gave Frank Canada a production machine for his birthday. We know that Frank loves production machines. And we also know that if Frank got one for his birthday, he would want to investigate every single piece of that machine. And supposedly that's what happened. He did a video where he walked the length of the entire machine and checked everything. And this machine is so big, it took 24 hours to do the video. I don't know if this is even true, but I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy if it is. I mean, a Fridays with Frank episode that doesn't end until Saturday morning. I'm going to have to watch that episode. Next big story, trustees of famous dead singer signed petition. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I got the headline right here, but the only thing I could think about with this story is the Frank Sinatra trustees. The Frank Sinatra trustees, they see this podcast here in the print channel called Next Week's Life Podcast that has this kind of Frank Sinatra theme, and the trustees are saying, hey, you can't be using the Frank Sinatra theme for this podcast. They even gave a suggestion, supposedly, the rumor is, and the suggestion is this. They want him to use the Lawrence Welk Show theme. They think the podcast is better suited for the Lawrence Welk Show, a little bit slower pace, kind of thing, and I'm thinking maybe they could be right there. Next big headline. OEM tells direct offices to stop doing forecast. When I saw this headline, the only thing I could think of is Konica Minolta. Konica Minolta executives and leadership, they can't forecast worth of crap. I mean, they don't, It'd be like, we're going to do one machine and then they don't even sell that. And so they're thinking to themselves, hey, if we can't forecast worth of crap, why should our sales reps even bother doing forecasts? So they're telling the reps, stop doing the forecast in the direct operations. So that's kind of an interesting story. Group therapy for print channel. Think of myself, group therapy for print channel. I have those therapy sessions where people get together and they talk about their problems. Well, folks, here's what I'm thinking. You got a bunch of people that work in the print industry. They're sitting around talking to each other. You can see this gentleman here. He's got his cell phone out with the End of the Day with Ray episode going on. This is the one with the bathtub full of blood. And they're saying, this guy, he's really upsetting. There's some people are probably crying and stuff. And then over here, this lady's taking some notes, and you can see clearly on the note, the End of the Day with Ray really loves you. She's getting it. He's really loving you. He's trying to help you, trying to help the industry address realities. And then the other note she wrote is COVID sucked, but we were in charge. So I guess they have some kind of therapy session that people could get together and they talk about how it's really not COVID's fault, that the whole world went to hell in your business, and that the End of the Day with Ray really loves you. That's pretty interesting. We'll stay on top of that story. Industry rejects found at a garage sale. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last story, but I got to tell you, it's kind of interesting. There's a garage sale, and you can see a couple of the rejects from the industry. We got that Forza ERP up there next to the old guitar. And over here, we got the Workplace Hub. Supposedly, this garage sale is happening pretty close to a ex-Konica Minolta executive that had some of this stuff in his garage, I guess. He's got to get rid of it. He's not there anymore. That Workplace Hub, that thing never worked anyway, he's probably saying to himself. And the Forza ERP, no one's using it. Let's get rid of the last one. It's kind of a nice looking box, though, it comes in. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of stories out there for our industry. I'll try to keep you up to date as I get them. Hopefully, my next weekend update, I can get the whole story downloaded properly and I won't have to make any assumptions. But I think I might have hit this one pretty good because you all know this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all on Monday.